is presented by Moon Guide. Plan your best hunt.
I was really excited about the 2021 season. Had a pretty full schedule planned. I had some really good deer that I know made it through the season that I had high hopes for. Was heading back to New Mexico for elk in September and back to Illinois again this year. We got some great deer that made it through the season last year again that looking forward to getting after those, and finally getting to go back to Alberta and try to get the monkey off my back up there. But yeah, really had a full season planned. So in Ohio this year, I know I've got a couple bucks that I'm really hoping are gonna make a jump this year. I had a really good buck, showed up late season last year, nicknamed him Lefty. He'd had an eye gouged and a little bit of a limp. Had an encounter with him late season, and it looked like a mid to high 150-inch deer and probably a 4-year-old. And the plan was to get the Whitetail Institute plots out. Ought to be a perfect scenario to draw those bucks in early season. Had the Banks feeder going all year, pouring the feed and the protein to these bucks to make sure that they reach their absolute maximum potential on antler growth. So I've got this community scrape just inside the woods on my farm that I found that if I keep this scrape freshened year-round with the raw frozen scents, these bucks are actually using this community scrape just about all year. I mean, every deer that comes through here is hitting this scrape June, July, August, right up to season. And I can really keep a close eye on them and see what they're doing as far as the growth goes. So it's first week of September, and it's time for these bucks to start shedding velvet. And I've really been waiting to get a good look at Lefty once he sheds his velvet to see what I really got with this deer. And first red moon of September, I finally get what I'm looking for. Some great footage of him, good daylight. He just shed his velvet. His antlers actually just blood red, and man, what a sight. I'm still kind of on the fence about whether Lefty's a deer I want to kill this year. So I think he's 5 years old. Would really like to see him make it one more year because I think he's got a ton of potential. But they're hitting the power plant. They're right where I want them to be. And we're getting ready to head to New Mexico to get the season started. And I tell you what, I can't think of any place I'd rather be, in mid-September than New Mexico chasing giant elk.
Coming up next. Team 200 is brought to you by Osseo Gear, nature's most lethal camouflage. By Whitetail Institute, research equals results. Hoyt, get serious, get Hoyt. Ozonics, undetectable, undeniable. Lone Wolf Custom Gear, the innovator of mobile hunting. Quiet Cat, all-terrain, all-electric. Pope and Young, preserve, promote, protect. And by Black Eagle Arrows.
Do you want to establish a food plot in an area that's not accessible with farming equipment? Look no further than Imperial No Plow from the Whitetail Institute. If you can get there by four-wheeler or foot and the area gets 3 to 4 hours of sunlight a day, Imperial No Plow can give you a hardy, fast-growing crop of highly nutritious and attractive forage. No Plow is a blend of specially selected exclusive clovers, brassicas, and our proprietary Wina 210 radish and other forages that are high in protein and provide up to 9 months of attraction and nutrition for optimal deer growth and antler development. No Plow is easy to establish with minimal ground preparation or in a fully prepared seed bed. Imperial No Plow can go where your tractor won't. Enjoy your best hunting ever with Imperial No Plow from the Whitetail Institute.
This segment is brought to you by Luminoc. Light 'em up.
So the last few years I've had some incredible hunts in New Mexico. You know, I normally try to plan my elk hunts around the red moon, just like I do with whitetails. An encounter I'll never forget with one of the biggest bulls I've ever seen the last night of the hunt, and just didn't get it put together. Following year got some redemption on my biggest bull to date. He's a giant. I don't know what else to say except it's a giant elk. It's more than I could have imagined. Needless to say, I was pretty pumped about getting back out to New Mexico. Was taking Logan with me. He was actually gonna run the camera for me this year. The plan was gonna be a little spot and stalk in the mornings, try to catch the elk coming off some alfalfa fields. Pretty exciting morning. We heard a couple good bugles, and that's gonna be the plan for the mornings, to get up in here and try to cut them off before they get up in the timber, and then we're gonna be setting water holes in the evening. So heard a couple bugles. We weren't able to get in front of these elk before they got up into the timber. The plan was that afternoon on the first day to grab the lone wolves, go check out this water hole, and get things set up for the first night. And it's tore up. There's a lot of tracks on this side of this little pond here. So I think we got a good tree in mind for the lone wolf. Get this thing set up, and this is where we're going to be at tonight. So we go in the afternoon to get the lone wolves hung on this water hole. We're heading back to the lodge for a couple hours before we come back in for our evening set, and we see some elk off the side of the road, not a half mile from this water hole where we're gonna be at tonight. And here's a great bull, super heavy. You know, he's not really wide, but he's tall, lots of mass. I mean, just a great looking bull. And like I said, he's not a half mile from where we're gonna be hunting tonight. We got some video of one of the bulls. I think it was the big one that we heard this morning. Really good bull, really heavy. And it was just right up over this little ridge from where we're at right now. So been really hot, almost 90 degrees, so they should be ready for a drink. Hopefully we'll get a look at them tonight coming down here. We got a marginal wind kind of blowing back up this meadow, but we got the ozonics going, so we should be fine.
Even in September, the average daytime temperatures can be well into the 90s in this part of the country, making water holes very productive spots for elk. It's still early on the first evening of Adam's hunt when a group of cow elk show up at the water hole for a drink, with a great bull following the herd. Optics for Team 200 are provided by Athlon Optics. See their complete line of sharp, tight, and priced just right binoculars, rangefinders, rifle scopes, and spotting scopes at athlonoptics.com.
like urine on that decoy.
Raw multi-buck urine combines urine from rutting, dominant, and young bucks to set off a dominance frenzy.
Can I kind of cover the base of the tree with the scrape lure?
Raw scrape lure introduces a new buck and a new doe to fire up scrape use. Raw frozen scents, always fresh, no water or preservatives, and 100% money back guarantee.
I'm talking 11 yards, maybe. Man, that was exciting. Totally sealed the deal for us.
This segment is brought to you by Hoyt. Get serious, get Hoyt. Adam Hayes is chasing elk in New Mexico, and after some quick scouting of a local waterhole, Adam and his nephew Logan have hung their lone wolf stands in hopes of catching a good bull hitting the water source in the extreme heat. After ranging the bull at 51 yards, Adam's first shot is perfect. And the big bull doesn't even know what hit him.
He just went down. So this never happens to me. I mean, first night, actually the bull we saw this afternoon comes in with these cows, just picture perfect, like they read the script. Yes, he just went down.
That's a great bull, too.
I think that's the one we saw from the road.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't have really long tines, but he's real heavy. Yeah. And we got a New Mexico bull on the ground the first night. Yes. Would you look at that? Oh man. First night in New Mexico. We heard a few bugles this morning and they got around us. I think we saw this bull from the road this afternoon when we came in to hang the lone wolves. And it's 6 o'clock. We got 2 hours of daylight left. Got out in the middle of that pond, ranged him with the athlons at 51, and man, all that practice this summer paid off because I just put a perfect shot on him. I'm sure he was going to go down in the water. Black Eagle just flew true, and that radical broadhead, he was pouring in that pond, just pouring. But I don't like taking chances, so I put another one in him for good measure, but he didn't go. Maybe 60, 70 yards. Just an awesome bull and an awesome way to start the season here in New Mexico. And thanks to my nephew Logan coming out and filming the hunt for me. Logan laid down the footage like he's a veteran cameraman. Like I said, I'm in shock. The first night of the hunt, we got a giant bull on the ground, gonna be heading back to Ohio with some huge antlers on the truck. So it's getting to the end of October. I'm basically leaving in 2 days to head to Alberta, and guess who shows up out of nowhere? It's the big heavy 9-point from last year, and he looks like he's an absolute stud. This deer is showing up in daylight. I've got to dive in, get the lone wolf on my back, go in and set up, just off this corner. It's gonna be one of those situations again where splitting hairs with the wind. So I'm 2 days from leaving for Alberta, and my target buck just showed up tonight, and he showed up in a spot where I don't have a stand pre-hung, although the tree is cleaned out. So fortunately, I got one of the new mobile setups from Lone Wolf Custom Gear, and I'm so thrilled to be working with Andre and Cody again. And these guys have just taken the original Lone Wolf products to the next level. I mean, this is the 1.0, and I've got the 17-inch sticks. I actually mount right to the stand. Once you lock those in, I mean, they're not going anywhere. Put the seat down. You've got your platform, put your backpack on. Right there, that is a killer mobile setup, 14 pounds, and I'm ready to go.
This segment is brought to you by Banks Outdoors, hunting blinds, deer feeders, and watering systems. For over 2 decades, the Moon Guide has been the #1 rated tool for serious hunters, telling you when giant whitetails will move and where you need to hunt. Now available as a mobile app, the Moon Guide gives you parcel data, enhanced weather radar, and the deadly red moon data.
My scouting tells me where to hunt. The Moon Guide tells me when.
Our best day hunting ever. 2 unkillable bucks, both taken on the red moon.
2 giant bucks last year, both taken on the red moon. Plan your best hunt at moonguide.com.
Team 200 is brought to you by Moon Guide. Plan your best hunt. Raw frozen scents, 53 times more effective. Whitetails Unlimited, working for an American tradition. Luminoc, light 'em up. Athlon Optics, ridiculously good optics. Banks Outdoors, hunting blinds, deer feeders, and watering systems. And by Radical Archery Designs, proudly made in America. 2 days before he's scheduled to leave for Alberta, one of Adam's target bucks has shown up on trail camera making a mistake during daylight. Faced with a very marginal wind, Adam cuts no corners, preparing himself and his gear for the last-minute hang and hunt.
Splitting hairs with the wind, you're really gonna have to rely on the ozonics, but this is one of those situations that I look for where big deer making a mistake in daylight, using the wind, he feels safe with the northwest wind to come right out into the field with the wind in his face. And you know, when a big buck makes a mistake like this in daylight, you got no choice but to dive in and see if you can get it done.
This northwest wind is really cutting it close. Been spraying some calming scent. Gotta keep that stuff in the air.
Everything happened so fast. I thought when this buck came out into the field, he was gonna stop and feed a little bit, but he marches out into the field, turns, comes right down the edge of the field, just like the does did. Big sycamore tree in front of me, waited for him to get in front of it to go ahead and make my move, got the camera set up to the right of the tree, and as soon as he gets behind it and I get drawn, he stops. I couldn't get the camera back on him. He ends up turning, walking almost directly straight away from me. And I basically had to almost kneel down on the platform to be able to shoot under a branch. Got a good arrow in him. He ran about 40, 50 yards up to the edge of the timber. Could tell he's real sick, walks into the timber, and it's gonna be one of those long nights. I found my arrow. My arrow's got blood on it. It's got some clear liquid. It had bubbles. Keep my fingers crossed, and hopefully I can get my hands on this deer tomorrow morning. I'm gonna give him 8-10 hours, and should be laying down there. We'll see what happens. Went back in the morning, tracked this deer a couple hundred yards, just very spotty blood. Really starting to get concerned about what's happened here. Spent the entire day combing through the CRP. We've lost our blood trail, lost pretty much all sign of this deer, and I'm in between a rock and a hard spot now because I'm leaving tomorrow morning for Canada, and I'm not sure what to do.
I'm sitting in a tree stand in Alberta, Canada, and I just got a phone call from Boise. I asked him to go over to my lease back in Ohio today to take a look for buzzards to see if he could see anything, because I couldn't find my deer that I hit Monday night. He goes over today and he finds my buck. I'm so happy right now, but I can't believe I'm 2,000 miles away and 10 days from being able to put my hands on him.
We contacted DNR and they told them to tag it online, and so I got the numbers and was able to put the tag information on the antlers, and we're gonna take them out. Just a giant heavy 6x5 buck, and so just excited for you, dude. Massive buck, so pretty awesome.
Closed captioning for Team 200 provided by QuietKat. No matter what you do in the woods, do it with complete stealth, and you will increase your chances for success with QuietKat. All terrain, all electric.